Hey everybody, it's Mark, Dr. Deadwax. Time for day 48 of the post-intro Thanksgiving Vinyl Challenge, Addendum Edition. Today's numbers were picked by leccegills. I don't know how to say his name, but his name's Alan, and he's a regular commenter on our videos, but he's not a video maker. Make videos, Alan. Jump in. Water's friendly. Water's warm. Whatever they say. First record. We picked 5 records. We can do all 5. First record, In Our Bedroom After the War by Stars. This is from 2007, and this is on the Arts and Crafts label. And this is a monster of a record. This is a concept album by the band Stars. They're a Canadian band out of, I believe it's Montreal. And comes on 2 discs with kind of unique labels. And there isn't anything interesting in Deadwax, though. And this, it just has this great modern sound to it. Big bass, really meaty, slightly new wave, slightly alt rock. It just has everything going for it. The Stars are just an awesome band, and this record I think is the best record they've ever done. I've had this for years, and I was looking for a copy on vinyl for years too. They sell for like $30 to $50 used, and there was just no way I was going to pay that. It also comes with the iron-on, which is kind of cool, but it's still there. The it's new vinyl. I have lots of issues with new vinyl. I have lots of issues just in general. We all know that by now, don't we? And I hate buying new records and having them sound like somebody else has played them. I hate that when they sound like they're used, especially when they shouldn't be, just because shitty manufacturing conditions or whatever. So it's nice to buy my modern vinyl used, and I pay $10 for this and $10 to ship it. And Arts and Crafts aren't known for having the best quality pressings, and this one's a little crackly, and it's got some weird manufacturing issues in it the odd time, but for $10, can't argue with that. And I've got a copy of a record that I just adore on vinyl, and I can't recommend this record enough. This is my top 10 of the aughts from the 2000s, that decade. This is easily in my top 10 for that. Just a fantastic record. Now on vinyl, do you need it on vinyl? I have it on CD. It sounds fantastic on CD. It really doesn't sound much different on vinyl. All there is any coloration my system's giving it. It's just a CD on vinyl, so it doesn't have any revelations to it. It's just a CD on vinyl. That's all most modern records are. They're not remastered or specially mastered vinyl mixes. All of that's pretty rare and uncommon. It's just the straight red book pressed to vinyl. I'm going to rant and rave for that for an hour. So I'm just going to move on. July 14th. Till we meet again. July 14th are an Australian band. I picked this up for $2. It's had in the shop for like 6 months when I stumbled across it. There's a date code on that sticker, so it's always cool to see how long something you found sat there. But this is the label, and this is on Greasy Pop Records. And I like the label. It's pretty cool. And so how do we describe this music? Side 1, well, put it this way. I really like side 1 of this record. And when I was listening to it, I kept getting this early Waterboys vibe from the music. And I love the Waterboys, and it was just totally speaking to me. And side 2, it's a little bit more indie pop garage. Side 2 was, side 1 was great. Side 2 just kind of let me down. These are uncommon records to find. I looked around online, and this record came from Australia. I don't know if they ever had a deal to have their records pressed outside of Australia. So this is kind of cool to find here in Canada, and it's not bad. I'll listen to side 1 again for sure, just to maybe listen to it back to back with Little Waterboys and see if it still speaks to me in that way, if I was right or I was wrong. Nothing interesting in dead wax, unfortunately. Next is Stephen Stills. This is from 1970. Oh yeah, that Greasy Pop Records, this was 1988, so it's also getting near the end of vinyl, the July 14th. And I don't know what July 14th is. I'm assuming it's a date of significance in Australia, and I doubt it has anything to do with kangaroos. So Stephen Stills, 1970, this is his self-titled solo LP. And this is a gift, VCLT from TBW3100 Trevor. Trevor wrote me and he said, I got two of these Stephen Stills that are Red Atlantics. Would you like one? And I was like, but he couldn't see me nod, so I had to type yes. Interesting, the color red is darker. It's more maroon than most of the Red Atlantics I have. And this is also, this would be a first Canadian pressing, but because it has US plates, it has plates from Artisan, which is the, we're not going to get it to show here, but we're just going to try. Oh, there it is. There it is. So you see how it's a circle within a circle with two drumsticks coming out that kind of form like the letter A? I know I could have drawn this on a piece of paper and been like really organized, but the Doctor don't roll like that. If it pops, it pops. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So that's the Artisan mark that I've talked about a lot. So these, obviously, first pressing because the Artisan plates were shipped up to Canada. Now, Trevor had his other pressing. He sent me the dead wax for both. His had dead wax markings from the first Canadian plate that was cut in Canada, which would have been pressed after this. Both of them would technically be first pressings. Because you know, an official reissue had not been released. I'd say this one is earlier than the one that Trevor kept, but I would say probably that the one that Trevor kept is a Smith Falls RCA plant pressing. I'm not quite sure where this is from. I think it's also from Smith Falls. Great record, sounds really good. You know, classic Stephen Stills solo material, and actually some of his better solo material in all honesty. I'm a little tired. I got a record show tomorrow, so I'm slurring my words a little. I haven't even had a beer. But so that's a fantastic addition to the collection, and you know, thanks again, Trev. Really appreciate it. He sent me another record too, a Brecker Brothers in the box. Eventually, the inbox will spit that back out. Next is Phil Manzanera, Primitive Guitars. Just, I think, Manzanera's best solo piece, solo work, solo album. I really like this. This is on the dreaded Editions EG. I have this on EG. And I bought this for $3 in the same place I bought that July 14th. And I thought maybe, look at how this doesn't even want to show itself. There it is. I thought maybe this might be an upgrade to mine, but it's equally as noisy. It's, me and the EG, Editions EG vinyl, we're just cursed. It's just a crackling stacks of wax all the time. Easily Manzanera's best solo record. It's a great, great record. I can't recommend it enough. And that has SNB in the dead wax, which we've talked about a lot lately, Sabine Nelson Brunet. And that would make sense because Editions EG in Canada were pressed by Polygram, which is a division of Polydor. And that was out of Saint Laurent, Quebec. Yep. And I didn't want to call it LaSalle again. And SMB seemed to cut everything that was pressed at that plant. And finally, this is an unusual record. I was really excited when I found this. I had my phone with me, I looked it up, and I was like, wow, this is a very uncommon, hard to find prog record. This is North Star by Triskelion. This is their first LP. Triskelion are a prog band, and they're from New England, and they have been there, or Pennsylvania. And I can't quite remember. Is New England part of Pennsylvania? I have no idea. Is it Old England? Here's the label. It's on North Star Triskelion. This beautiful near mint copy. Jacket's near mint. Totally glad to find this. Pay $10 for this in the shop, and you know, unusual prog record for $10. Sure. Neo-prog, I think, was what somebody said when I looked it up online. Really hard record, really hard band to find anything about, actually. Even their webpage is dead in the water. However, they've been around for 30 years. They've been performing together since, I think, 1982. And they're still apparently performing together. And most of them, too. I think only one person has left the band. Triskelion. A Triskelion is a three-legged kind of logo thing from Celtic art. Well, no, it's from all kinds of art. Anyways, it's lots of cultures used a symbol kind of based on this, and this is one. This is the three-legged version. There's also like 3 spirals, you know, in that circle idea. Nothing at all interesting in Deadwax. No idea where this was pressed. The label is Space Monster Optional Entertainment Discs. Name like that, you would have thought this label would have been just incredibly awesome. It is kind of cool though. It does have the little space monster listening to his Victoriola. So I guess that was the logo for the label. So I'm really blown away, excited, happy to find something like this that was totally cool and totally rare. Private pressing, the whole deal. You know, these guys were never signed to a major label, yet they've put out 6 or 7 albums, I believe, at least 5. And I know they've toured off and on and stuff like that. And it's just, it's okay. Sadly, it's not. It's I guess what they're calling neo-prog. It's kind of Genesis-y. It's kind of Marillion. The vocals aren't as strong as either of those bands. People say that, I think it's Joe Newman is the vocalist's name. People say he's a great vocalist. I was kind of like, really? Not the greatest vocalist. The keyboardist, Kevin Leonard, is apparently had a keyboard playing career before the band, but I don't know anything about that. Previous to this, they put out a 3-song like cassette EP release. So this was their first full-length album. Kevin Leonard is the strongest part of this band for sure. The keyboards are the strongest part of the sound, you know, the music. The guitar parts are okay. The bass line is at times, it seems to be non-existent. So the keyboard's kind of sore. The rest of it kind of just trails behind it. And the vocals are kind of, in some ways, it's said to be Gabriel-inspired Genesis. I think it's actually just post-Gabriel-inspired Genesis. Wind and Wuthering, Trick of the Tail, that kind of a sound, going into like Duke, blend all that into you know what that sound is like. And so I think it's kind of like that. And when I was listening to it, I just thought this would have been an excellent record if it was an instrumental. So I'm probably being a little too harsh on it. I'm probably overtired to be kind of listening to something that's this intriguing this late, but that's my immediate take on it. But I'm definitely going to keep it. I'm definitely going to spin it again and try it because, you know, I enjoy Marillion, and I don't have an issue with Genesis up until they get to the point where I just want to blow my head off, which is much later. So North Star, Triskelion, if you see this for $10, that's a really good buy. This is not a record you will find very often. This is not a record that comes up on eBay very often. And part of the reason I think is because it's uncommon, but it doesn't actually get a hell of a lot of money. Phil Manzanera, Primitive Guitars, by far I think his best solo record. Stephen Stills, thanks Trev. You know, it's awesome to have a Red Atlantic of this. I don't have Red Atlantic of that, so that's great. You know, my personal obsession with Canadian Red Atlantics. Till we meet again, July 14th. Side 1 worked for me, side 2 didn't, but this is a kind of, not rare, but hard to find, maybe, slightly obscure Australian, I'm going to use that term, post-punk band. And Stars in Our Bedroom After the War. Masterpiece. Just one of the best records of the 2000s, in my opinion. So, there's today's numbers. Thanks, Alan, for picking the numbers and playing along. And thanks, everybody, for watching and commenting on the whole thing. And we'll see you again for day 49. Have a great day, everybody. Keep the record spinning.